Hey guys, I just want to say that if you're new to the channel, please do consider subscribing. I'm a small content creator and could really use your support. I live stream 100% of the gameplay for games that I review, and I'm also always trying to keep up with the big named movies that are being released. If you would like to support the channel monetarily, you can do so through PayPal, or even better yet, you can get yourself some merch from my Teespring store. If you want to get better connected, you can do so through the social links in the description below, and please do consider joining the Discord. If you do, you can voice chat with me through my headphones while I live stream, and you won't be recorded on YouTube or Twitch. That's all I've got, guys. I hope that you really enjoy the video. Hello everyone, and welcome. My question today for you is a simple one. Would you, right now, just the way you are, no added special abilities or superhuman powers, be willing to travel to a post-apocalyptic wasteland in order to battle a ridiculously numerous and unbelievably powerful and merciless enemy in order to save your family, your home, your country, and even your planet? Because that's exactly what happens in Amazon Prime's newest movie, streaming now, starring Chris Pratt. I'm Mike, and this is Mike's After Action Reviews, and this is the Rapid Action Review for The Tomorrow War. So guys, we're going to start by talking about the movie's production. So the two production companies were Paramount Pictures and Skydance Media. The distribution rights were later bought by Amazon after the movie had already been made and it was going to be released in theaters, but because of COVID, it was unable to be, so Amazon bought it up for its streaming service, Amazon Prime. It was written by Zach Dean, and he is a not-so-well-known writer. He had a movie, Deadfall, starring Bruce Banner, and 24 Hours to Live, starring Ethan Hawke. He wrote for those two movies, so if you're familiar with those, which I actually am not, but you can look those up and see some of his other work. And it was directed by Chris McKay, who is actually, surprisingly, I've never heard of Chris McKay before this. I looked it up. He is well known for directing the Robot Chicken series, which is, I mean, it's a funny series, but it's very raunchy, very adult, totally different than this movie, and also the Lego movies. The first The Lego Movie, and then also the Lego Batman movie. He directed those two films. So I was really kind of excited, or not really excited because I'd already seen the movie, but really happy to see that we have some people kind of breaking into like a new thing. I love to see people who don't typically do a certain thing do that thing, just to see how they would do it. And I was happy. This was really good. So we're going to start off a little bit differently this time. We're going to go with the plot first. So basically, this movie, the plot is nothing too super complicated. Actually, it reminds me of the movie Edge of Tomorrow. It reminds me of the movie Edge of Tomorrow just a little bit. As far as the simplicity of the plot, but how well the characters and everything are done and action and stuff to make the movie work very well. So basically, 30 years from now, not now, but 30 years from the time of the movie, I forget the exact date. I think it was 2020, and then it was like 2050. So 30 years from now, there's going to be a war with an alien species, and the aliens just completely wipe out all life on Earth. It's like more than half the life on Earth, like almost all the life on Earth, like 90% of the life on Earth. And so they come up with a plan. Using their advanced technology, they piece together a time-traveling device, and they go back into the past and they say, look, 30 years from now, this war is going to happen. We need people because everybody's basically dead. So they start having people go into the future. They do 7-day rotations, About 20% of people survive those rotations because of how terrible these aliens are. And Chris Pratt, an ex-military, ex-special forces military man who is currently a teacher, gets drafted into this war, and he goes, and, you know, movie goes on from there. I'm not going to go into any spoilers, okay? So, simple enough, simplistic plot, nothing too complicated or crazy. So we'll move into the acting. Okay, so the acting, you have Chris Pratt, who is known from Guardians of the Galaxy and Parks and Recreation. Sam Richardson, who's known from Veep, The Detroiters, and a small part in the hit show The Office. I love that show. It's my favorite show of all time, I think. You have Edwin Hodge. So Sam Richardson and Edwin Hodge, the two people that I'm mentioning right now, I've actually never known them or anything like that, except for Sam Richardson in The Office. As soon as I saw him on screen, I was like, man, there's something about that guy. I think I know him. But anyway, Edwin Hodge from Big Mama's House, which is old, and The Purge. They're in this. J.K. Simmons, well known for the movie Spider-Man, and he's in a lot of other stuff like Invincible and things like that, and also the movie Whiplash. Excuse me. And then one more main character, Yvonne Jacqueline, I'm going to butcher this, Strakowski. I think it's just Strakowski. She was in the movie The Predator, and she was also in the hit series A Handmaid's Tale. The acting here is actually, it's really great. This is all, I mean, as you can see, these are basically all AAA brand name actors. They all did very well. I was very happy with everyone's performance. There are a couple more actors that some people might know, but those are the big ones for now. So the acting, very good in the movie. Nothing really crazy to talk about, except actually one thing. Normally on this channel, I like to stay away from the controversy of kind of the modern media and the things that surround movies and things like that. But I do just want to say one thing. I've looked at some of the reviews, and I normally don't look at reviews, but, you know, I kind of had heard about what I'm about to say. I looked at some of the reviews, and some of the reviewers are kind of panning this movie, saying that Chris Pratt's performance was not very good. And I don't want to get too much into the controversy here, because like I said, I try to avoid that, but I just want to say that's really not true. That's really not true. There are some political reasons and some other reasons why critics don't like Chris Pratt, and they're kind of attacking him based on those things rather than his performance. And his performance here was actually really good, and those critics need to shut up. Okay, actually, because it's seriously getting to a point that it's so annoying how if you don't believe a certain way or don't act a certain way, not even doing anything bad. Chris Pratt hasn't done anything bad or deserve this. It's just the way that he believes and the way that he acts a little bit. They don't like you. I mean, this is so stupid. And if you look at the Rotten Tomato score and, you know, these different scoring, you know, critics are panning the movie, and then everybody else, the audience, is loving the movie. So go with the audience, guys. As always, go with the audience. But anyway, so the acting was all around really good. Chris Pratt does a really good job, too, so don't listen to the critics that are saying that he doesn't. So we have the characters. So, Dan Forrester. Now, he's played by Chris Pratt. He is the main protagonist. He is ex-Special Forces, and he's kind of a down-on-his-luck science teacher. Very well-credentialed scientist who's trying to kind of progress a career in science at the time that the movie starts, you know, as we're introduced to him in the movie. And kind of down on his luck, middle-class, working American man. And it's not quite working out for him. And then the movie happens, and this big war happens, and you kind of see him having, like, I may not be able to... I don't know, it's kind of like a thing where, imagine if you were sitting there and you were thinking to yourself, man, what have I done with my life? And then you get the opportunity to do something kind of important, maybe, you know, make a little bit of a difference. You kind of say to yourself, you know what? I may not have been able to be the famous guy I always wanted to be. I may not have been able to be successful in the career I wanted to be successful in. But some skills that I have give me the opportunity to make a difference. So you kind of get that feel from this movie, and that aspect of the movie is actually done really well with a lot of the characters. You have Charlie, who's played by Sam Richardson, and he plays a kind of scared scientist guy, fish out of water type guy. They basically are drafting civilians into this war. They take, Charlie. They throw a gun in his hand and they say, "Hey, you're going into the future. You're going to spend 7 days there fighting these aliens. Only 20% of people come back, and after 7 days, you're going to come back if you're still alive." And he is totally freaked out, as any normal person would be, because he's just a scientist, doesn't really have any combat experience, and he kind of hooks up with Chris Pratt, and they help each other out, keep each other alive, protect each other, basically. Then you have Dorian, and he's played by Edwin Hodge. He is kind of like the dead-eye combat veteran in this movie. He has had 3 deployments to the future, so going out and come back. We find out some things kind of later in the movie about his character. He carries around a claw of one of the aliens that he's fought, and he basically does not care if he lives or dies, and he explains kind of about that, like I said, later in the movie. No spoilers, but he is kind of the, excuse my language here, but I'm going to say it the way it's said, he's kind of the badass of the movie, and he actually, again, does a really good job. Lesser-known actor who actually does a really good job portraying that character. You have James Forrester, who is played by J.K. Simmons. He's a veteran. He is Dan Forrester, Chris Pratt's father. He abandoned his family. You kind of get this sense as he's introduced, they outright say there's some like illegal activity kind of going on with him, which plays a part into some things later on in the movie, and his character kind of has a pretty good arc with everything as you are first introduced to him, and then where he ends up in the end of the movie. So I was very happy with his character in particular, especially because J.K. Simmons is just awesome. And then we have the Colonel. Now, I'm not going to get too much into her character, really, but she is the leader of the future military, and she helps Dan Forrester in the future to figure out how to fight and defeat these aliens. So, those are the characters. I really loved the characters in this movie. All of them have really good motivations and arcs, and they start one place and end in another, and it's really good. It's something that you just don't get all the time in movies anymore. Normally, nowadays in movies, you have a really powerful, awesome character in the beginning, and you have a really awesome, powerful character in the end, and maybe they get like a new weapon or something, they meet a new person and get, something like that, but there's not a true hero's journey. Here, there is a great hero's journey, I think, with most of the characters, and I was really happy with that. So now we're going to move on to the miscellaneous of the movie. So the action was really good. And the CGI, which, kind of ties in with the action because this is aliens and stuff like that. CGI was done very well. There was no moments that really, took me out, and I looked at it and I was like, man, that's not... that's CGI right there. None of that kind of stuff. They kind of keep things moving kind of fast, and the fast pace of everything kind of gets you, so that way you don't really get pulled out of it too badly when it comes to the CGI and things like that. But the action was very good. So this is, like I kind of said, this is kind of the story of common men rising up and defending their homes. They're taking civilians at the point when the movie really starts to pick up. And Chris Pratt is just, like I said, a middle-class American who says, you know what, my family, my home, that's what's important to me, and I'm going to go defend it. And that again, it kind of touches you. It touches you, like I'm talking about you, like you watching this at home, unless you're some big famous person or some special forces guy. Most people, you go to the gas station, your job at the gas station or a clerk at the checkout at Walmart or wherever, and sometimes you feel to yourself, man, I'm not really making a big difference in my life. But this movie is basically showing you how in certain situations, you can rise up. You can rise up and do something great. And so I really like that part of this movie. As I said before, characters have actual arcs and motivations. So we have some redemptions for some of the characters. Charlie, who is, and this is the one that I'll give away, and this isn't really like a spoiler, but Charlie, he is the scared scientist that I was talking about. He is basically shown to be a coward, but by the end, he rises to the occasion. I'll tell you what, he rises to the standard, and he fights for his friends, and he protects those that he cares about. And so that was really, really, all of the characters, like I said, they're done really well, and I really did appreciate that. It is something, like I said, we don't get too much too often anymore in movies. This movie was made in a, like I said, with comparing it to the The Edge of Tomorrow, which entered into, The Edge of Tomorrow War. The movies have a simple enough plot that works. It's such a good idea because it's a simple enough idea. You can move from point A to B without creating too many ridiculous plot holes if you kind of have a little bit of wisdom in how to make movies, I think. So there's very few plot holes, and there's very good explanations, in-world explanations for some of the things. You find out, this is just a slight spoiler, but not really, you kind of find out that certain characters are not able, so there's some characters that travel back from the future. And the reason that they're able to travel back from the future is because they aren't born yet in the past. So basically it's telling you they are not able to. So if I'm alive in 2005, I would not be able to time travel back into 2005 in case there was some kind of paradoxical event. So they talk about that. Chris Pratt and Charlie's character, Chris Pratt, and Sam Richardson's characters kind of talk about this, and this is just a theory. It's not exactly confirmed or anything. But it's just a good explanation for some things, and the plot and everything that they do, it's very simple, point A to point B, very good action, very fun and everything, but they do it in such a way that it's safe from plot holes, which is much appreciated, especially with time travel movies. I think that they did this pretty well, and they even explained how, even now, as we are in the past, the future is still rolling on. So if they sent me to the future right now at 6:08 on the 15th of July, and then I left for 7 days, I would come back on the 21st or on the 22nd of July because time is continually moving forward even though they have a time machine. So there are some things that they kind of do to prevent any problems with paradoxes and things like that often happen with time travel movies, and it was just done so well. The simplicity was the beauty here. So now I'm going to move on to my final statement. So again, I said it's not too complicated, just a very good fun action movie. It is fun. The action is great, and the idea is great, and the aliens are cool, and Chris Pratt is this action hero guy, and it's awesome to see. It's kind of like in a movie when you see the old guy, and then there's a young guy, and the old guy gets up and he says, I might be 50, 60 years old, but I'm still strong enough to fight you, and the old guy beats the crap out of a young guy, and it's the righteous old man versus the evil, young, arrogant prick. Well, it's just fun to see your average, standard, everyday American say, you know what, forget this, I'm not dying today. And they go and save some people and do some heroic stuff. Really fun, awesome to see. No political messaging rammed down your throat, not even a little bit. A lot of the political things, I'm not even going to give them names or mention them, but a lot of the political things that you see all the time that they're talking about nowadays, they say, this thing and that thing, and if it doesn't have this, or it doesn't have these kind of people, or this certain people ratio to this other certain people type in there, those types of things are not an issue, but it's still not something that is rammed down your throat. It's just a normal movie with normal people, and nobody gives a crap about any of that political stuff here. We just get a good movie. And for those reasons, I'm going to rate this movie as above average. So, not excellent. It wasn't some masterpiece you're going to go home and rethink your life about, but it is something fun, and it's worthwhile, and it's great to see. And right now, it is streaming on Amazon Prime. So I'm not exactly sure. So if you have Amazon Prime, definitely check it out. And if you don't have Amazon Prime, now might be a good time to, try out that free trial just to watch this movie. I'm not sure exactly how Amazon plans on continuing with the movie, if they're going to start to rent it, where you don't have to have Amazon Prime in order to rent it. I think that would make them more money, so it's possible that that'll happen. So I hope that you're not going to need an Amazon Prime account to get this even in the future, but it's definitely one worth checking out. So please do that. Please do. And go support Chris Pratt. They're attacking that guy right now for stupid, no good reasons. And that's dumb. He's a good actor. Let the guy be a good actor, even if he doesn't believe the way that you believe, or, worship the way you want him to worship or whatever, because he has some religious stuff going on too. But that's all I've got, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.